here to stay. But Casey won't give up, no, no, cause you know he's way too tough. He's gonna do whatever it takes. He's gonna find a way. Casey never liked school much. All the kids would laugh when he read in class. Teachers tried to help him out, but they didn't know what to do, so they just let it pass. Sometimes he wanted to scream out loud, hide his head in the sound of the clouds. D-Y-S-L-E-X-I-A, he could anything to make it go away, even though he knows it's here to stay. But Casey won't give up, no, no, cause you know he's way too tough. He's gonna do whatever it takes. He's gonna find a way.
Hello, 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 everyone. So good to have you all here. Hi, Mr. Alex. Good to see you. Thank you for joining us on the first episode for the year 2021. I'm super, super excited, and I'm sure that each and every one of us is as excited as I am today. So it's episode 48 of Finding Help with Special Needs with Lola Aneke. And the topic is legal guardianship for children with special needs. You know, that looks like a mouthful, but not to worry. We have an expert and we have a parent in the house that will break it down to us. You know, usually I put down the flyers for the event on Thursdays or Fridays, and I try to explain what the show would look like, and explain that in some parts of the world, and even here in Nigeria, sometimes parents might not be available. Parents of children with special needs might not be available to attend to every of the needs of their children due to very genuine reasons such as health and sometimes death and some other genuine reasons. And then what should happen? You know, the right thing to do is to have a legal guardian for that child. And today we have two beautiful women, two lovely guests in the house that will be joining us in a couple of minutes. So I want to welcome you all to the first episode in 2021, and it's actually the 48th episode. That's a lot. And I want to thank you for being with us every week. So it's the 48th episode on Finding Out with Special Needs. And the title for today's discussion is Legal Guardianship for Children with Special Needs. So without much ado, I would like to I'm inviting our guests, like they're coming really. I would like to invite them into the studio. But I want to thank you all for always being with us on this show. And I want to remind you to ensure that you put down your comment or your questions, and also subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you can get notification any other or activities, okay? So that you don't forget. So it keeps telling you we are on, or when we have any other interest. I'm sure you found this show quite interesting and educative and resourceful. So please comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. So I'm going to bring in my guests real quick, and they'll be doing justice to the topic for today. I'm really excited about today. Thank you so much for joining us. Hi, Mrs. IKW. Hi, Barrister Ify. Good to have you. How you doing? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello?
Hi, yes,
Hello?
I can hear you.
Fantastic, fantastic. Mrs. IKW, can you hear me? You seem to be frozen. Okay, while we wait for Mrs. Ifuako to come in, I'd like Barrister Ify to please introduce herself to us. And she did, look, I'm super proud of this lady, and I'm so glad she's on the show today. So please do not hold anything back. Tell us who you are and what you do in this field. Thank you so much.
Okay, hi everyone. It's really an honor to be here. Thank you so much for having me. And Lola, well done with what you're doing so far. So my name is a long, it's a mouthful. It's Barrister Ifoma Philippa, and my new surname is Peterkins Itwe. So I go by Mrs. Peterkins. And as Lola said, I'm a lawyer. I run a special needs law firm. So my law firm is the first. In Abuja, I cannot say if it's the whole of Nigeria, but we specifically run a special needs law firm, and it's been running now for the past 2 years. It's a corporate law firm, but we decided to niche out towards special needs because I already had work that was in there. I'm a certified special needs family counselor, so we just thought to bring in SEN law as well. So that's one of the things that we're doing and offering to the special needs community. And I'm also a facilitator with the New York Sibling Network. It's a curated network for siblings of people with special needs. So I'm a sibling and I'm a legal guardian as well to my younger sister. So my younger sister is 26 and has been living with me for the past 5 years. So yeah, there you go.
Thank you. Thank you for what you do with SOS. I like the initials, the way you put it. SOS. Fantastic. Mrs. IKW, are you with us? Hello? Can you hear us? Can you hear us? Okay, I'm sure she'll be back. Yeah, I think she can't hear me. But you said something while you were introducing yourself, Ify, and that for me is very profound because I know that most countries are very strict on laws when it comes to special needs. And I like the fact that you ventured into that because I've never really heard it. I know in the US about it, but that's something I want you to talk to us about, probably on another show, what the special needs law look like in Nigeria. We'll look at it so that people will be aware because a lot of people are not aware of what that is. Parents feel that they are the mercy of schools. And then when it comes to issue of individualized education plans, you find out that a lot of parents do not even know what it should look like. They don't know their rights when it comes to that legal document. So it'll be one thing I want us to discuss as probably in another episode, okay? Will you be willing to do that for us, please?
Yeah, sure. So special needs law, it's SEND. So it's special education needs law, and it's acronym as SEND. Pretty much, that was one of my niche areas in the UK. So I studied in the UK. I'm qualified in the UK. I'm a solicitor there, and then I moved back to Nigeria to do law school here and also be qualified here. So I dual practice, and one of the things I realized why a lot of lawyers here don't go into it is most of the universities here do not niche out. So you're doing a full general law, and then by the time you get to law school, most people are just looking for a law firm to go to. Whereas as an expert course, you're focusing on this one particular area because you are interested in it or you have some kind of reason why you're there. And then if you do decide to carry on, then you do a lot of CPDs, you do a lot of training courses. So I'm still having to do CPDs. I can't stop learning within that area because that is the area that is my major focus, even if I'm a corporate lawyer and I do other things. So for Nigeria, the major issue here with SEND law and why I would think a lot of people are not practicing it is because it's a minute community. Most people do not see, they feel as if it's just pro bono work. If you're having to do anything within, the special needs community or disability community, they feel like it's pro bono. So most people don't want to go into it and they feel it's touchy. It's like family law. They don't want to go into it as well. So maybe it's the touchiness, or just maybe the unawareness of it all, per se. But it's like every other law. You just need to know what the practicalities of it, what the policies are, why you're practicing it, who is interested in it, who it will benefit, and then you practice. So that's about
to
it.
me ask you that, are there special education needs law in Nigeria, and how effective is that? That's not the topic for today. I'm just interested.
There's a lot of policies that intertwine. They are not specific. They haven't been a specific law per se, and that is one of the. I think that is the biggest problem. And it will still boil down to how policies are written in Nigeria and how laws are being produced. I believe that in the coming years, with how the special needs community is growing, we'll be able to, make refined policies that fit just us and not just the general public, or like educational needs in general, where we can actually forge ahead, because everyone else has this going on. And even if we have a semblance here and there, we don't actually have particular laws that particularly, benefit us.
Was true. I like that, and count me in anytime you do need any support for that, because I know that around the world, beyond just having policies, there are laws in place for individuals with disability and special needs, such that they have to back up their rights. Really, thank you for opening our eye to that. Miss IKW, are you back with us?
Yes, I am. I've had to leave
you. Thank you for coming up.
Can you hear me now? I'm having to use
my phone. Loud and clear. So could you please introduce yourself and what you do in this field?
Okay. My name is Ifweko Karibi White. I'm a mother of a beautiful daughter who's on the autism spectrum. I'm also the president and founder of Amin Foundation, which is autism mothers in and outside Nigeria. I work in oil and gas though, so I have a daytime job, but autism and special needs are quite dear to my heart, which is why I've started the foundation, and also advocacy for us mothers.
Fantastic, thank you. Each time I bring in my guests, I tend to learn new things that I'm aware of it, but I'm thinking, is this happening in Nigeria? But speaking with both of you gladdens my heart that such initiatives are in place, and we have people who are thinking of the way forward for individuals with special needs. I want to thank both of you for what you do and for joining us today. So let's go to our topic. When I was speaking with Barrister Ife, she mentioned something about special education needs law. I'm like, okay, I've read about that globally, but I'm not sure that's functional in Nigeria. And from what she said to me, like I said, it gladdens my heart to know that we are forward thinking and looking for ways to ensure that individuals with special needs truly experience an inclusive world or life here in Nigeria. Like we always say, the first human before any disability. So they have the right to everything every individual, every human being has before the disability. Okay, so thank you so much. Now let's go to the topic of discussion for today. And I would like I'm sorry, I hope you're planning to be a doctor very soon, Barrister Ife, to speak to us.
It looks like. It looks like.
Because the qualifications and all of that looks like she's turning towards doctorate. So maybe we can never tell.
Oh yeah.
So
I'm almost there.
You see now, I was speaking. I'm like I was professor. Well, I was saying to the future. So, Barrister Ife, I would like you to, because that's your practice, explain to us in simple terms what legal guardianship means. What does it mean?
So basically, legal guardianship is the authority and duty of care. It's the responsibility passing from one particular person to the other. So in this case, it would be from parents to an appointed person. That is the simplest form. So just think about it, duty of care, but with authority now, whereby even if the parents are not, even if the parents are alive, whoever it is that is getting that legal guardianship automatically has the authority to make decisions, to make to make compliant words, to do everything that a parent would have done for that person. Now, for us in particular, when we talk about legal guardianship, we don't just look at it as a passing off. It shouldn't be a passing off. It's generally seen as a passing off, so from one parent to other. But the most important thing now for us being that we are already family members, we make sure that when people were thinking about legal guardianship, we explain to them that legal guardianship should be the most appropriate person, the most trained and informed person, not just because the person is a family member or the person is, available or the person is wealthy. Most times, especially in the African context, we're looking for who can, who has the money or who has the resources to take care of a child, other than who actually has the best interest of that child, looking forward with what that child needs, the kind of love they need, the kind of medical attention they need, the kind of, insurance benefit that they need for the rest of their life and parenting. So with legal guardianship, pretty much you have to apply for it and it has to be granted in court. Is that clear? Should I go on?
It is clear, very clear. But I will need you, I'm going to ask Mrs. Caribe White a few questions, or one question really, before we come back to you. I'd want you, because I know that's what I know about you, that you are a legal guardian to your younger sister, like you mentioned to us earlier on. But you know how things are in Nigeria. We read about things, and then we read about the theoretical part of it on internet and all of that. Or sometimes it's even difficult to find such information because Nigerians are not just because of our culture. We don't come out boldly to say, look, I have a sister, I have a sibling with special needs, and I am the legal guidance. So some people are really genuinely interested in being legal guidance of their siblings or their nephews or a family member, but they don't know the step to take to ensure that they do things right. Even for people without special needs, someone is trying to be someone's legal guidance without special needs. They don't know the steps to take, and we're happy to have you in here as an authority in this field and as someone who has lived the talk, who is living the talk. So we'd want you to tell us the step-by-step ways to go about it. But before that, I'd like to hear Mrs. Caribe White's Ms. IKW, I just want to make it Ms. IKW's view on legal guardianship. And not just that, Barrister, if he said something about the most appropriate person, not just the well-versed, but the most knowledgeable, the most appropriate person that can care for that individual, So what, from your own perspective, if a person is thinking of, okay, I could consider legal guardianship for my child, or I'm thinking of probably if the sister or a brother or a cousin is thinking of might consider doing that in the next couple of years. And that's another question I will have to ask the Barrister Ife. At what stage, at what age should you be before you can be called, before you can apply to be a legal guardian of any individual? But before we come to you, because you're going to walk us through that, Mrs. Caribe White, what is your own idea, and how should probably a parent prepare the siblings or the family? What things, because I know that you can't just wake up and say, I want to be. You have to know the individual with special needs. You have to know what kind of special needs it is. What are those things that individual who's planning to be a legal guardian to a person with special needs should be equipped with, or what should the parent do to ensure that it goes right, so to say?
Hi, Lola. Thank you for having me again. First of all, I want to congratulate Barrister Ife.
Thank you, ma'am.
For blazing the trail in special needs. I like to hear that a law firm is specifically tailored towards advocacy and putting things in place for our special needs community. It's excellent the work you're doing. God bless you for this. We need more of you, and to come to learn that you're also a legal guardian for your younger siblings. God bless you. From a mother of a special needs child, God bless you. So it sounds, but if you're going to take us through a lot of legalese, but I like to just break it down. It's not as difficult as it sounds. We've all been doing these things for years. It's very African, it's very Nigerian. And the key phrase is, who has the best interest of the child? I'm sure, Lola, whilst you were growing up. Many times you spent holidays with aunties or uncles or your senior sister, your senior brother, your mother's younger sister, all of that. We've been doing that. It's part of the way we grow up. And the considerations that our parents made back then to send us for these short periods are the same considerations you would make. They did this, the whole thing was legal guardianship. Because while you were staying with them, they had total authority over you, as in, anything happened to you, it was them. So these things have been going on. It's just that now looking at putting a legal framework in place. I'm saying this so that parents don't get scared, because we all get scared when we hear about paperwork, legal, going to court. No, not at all. It's something that we've all been doing over time. If you're an African, you've stayed with one relative or the other, or you've stayed with one mother's friend or the other. If not, you're not a Nigerian, you're not an African. We've all done it. So it's that. Who has the best interest of the child at heart for that particular time? You went there maybe for summer to learn new things, to go to another country. There was a reason then. So this time around, there has to be, there also will be a reason. The reason being that this person that you want to choose, you feel has the best interest of your child for now, at that particular time. So the person knows your child, knows the needs of your child, and most importantly, has time for your child. So I remember Barrister, if he spoke about is not the richest person, it definitely is not the richest person. It is the richest person for your child is the person who has the most time for your special needs child, who can give that love and that attention. That is the money in special needs. The time and the care is the bankable money in the area of special needs. So I wanted to bring that out. What do I think about legal guardianship? As I just said, I think it's something that we've always been doing, but it becomes scary when you think you're handing over your legal rights to someone. And you can, for a certain, some people have to do it sometimes when they have to travel abroad and leave their child, or they're not in the same place. I, for instance, my child at a certain time was in South Africa. So I had to give a power of attorney. I had to give a power of attorney to the person who was with my child at that particular time to be able to make the kind of decisions that I would need to make should there be any issues. So it's nothing. For one thing I want to put across is that it's not something we should be afraid of. It's something we need to put deep thought to. You have to think about it. You won't give your child just to anybody, but it's something you shouldn't fear if you know you have the right person to give. The world is changing, whilst remember before, 10 years, 15 years ago, you could travel with your auntie, your uncle, different names on a passport. It was not an issue. Now you can't do that. You can't leave the country with a child whose name is not your same surname. Some countries, in fact, require that you travel with your children's birth certificate so they can readily tell who the parent is. So the world has changed. So as the world has changed, we also here as Nigerian parents, we also need to change our thinking and understand that in paperwork, we have to do the paperwork. These things that we want, these things that we do, we have to put them in writing. Now, something I know that Barrister Ife is going to talk about is the age of legal guardianship. Now, you become an adult in Nigeria at the age of 18. So basically, I'm not sure, she can guide me on this, that you can be a legal guardian of an adult. For you to be a legal guardian of an adult, I believe you will need to show that the adult, this child that is above 18, does not have full capacity. Now, for me, that's where the problem comes. I'm also calling her doctor. Barrister, if we can talk about this at length. But the problem for me as a mother, the problem comes when you have to make that decision, or that decision is staring you at the face. Nobody wants to commit their child. I dread the day I will have to say my child does not have the mental capacity to be an adult. I dread that day, and I'm sure I'm not the only one. Because, it's not that I don't know that we still have gaps and things to do, but, there's a fear of putting things in black and white. There's that fear. So whilst I come to you and I'm telling you, that it's something that we need to consider, it's also a very emotional thing for parents. It's something that is difficult because you are actually stating, you're putting it down that your child does not have the full mental capacity to manage on their own. This is when they're above 18. So this is a different subject from legal guardianship of a minor, which is what is available in Nigeria, and which is what we've been practicing. If you bring a young, a young relative from the village, that's what you've been practicing. You just didn't sign anything. That's basically what you've been practicing. But for your special needs child, you're looking for someone who understands your child, who knows the needs of the child, and can give the child those things, whilst you can't, maybe due to physical distance or just inability. You yourself, may be disabled or unable to provide that care at that particular time. Know that legal guardianship is for a certain period of time. It's not in perpetuity, especially since at the age of 18 in Nigeria, 18 plus is an adult. So those are things, I like Barrister Ife to come in here to talk about this, but I just want to stress the fact that it's emotional, very emotional for you when you're dealing with a child that is over 18, because at that point in time, you are stating that the child does not have the capacity to exist on their own. And, somebody said something to me, yes, when I was researching this, I saw in a group, there was a question, and it really threw me off. And it said, do you know that if your child, okay, now your child is an adult, 18, 19, but with disability, cognitive disability, and your child wanders off. Your child at 19, 20, 21 is an adult to the law. But your child wanders off. Do you know that as an adult, you're allowed to wander off? Lola, you can carry your bag and walk away. They can say you walked out of the door and went. But at that age, it becomes, was it free will or was the person taken away? It's hard in the Western world. It's difficult for them to step in if there's no history stating that your child has some kind of incapacity. I don't want to call it a mental incapacity, but has some kind of incapacity. If there are no records showing that, you show up in the police station and say, you're in New Jersey, that your child your 19-year-old child strolled away, they're going to be looking at you. They're going to be looking at you. That's the truth. If there are no records stating that this child is on the spectrum or has some other cognitive disability. So those are real issues for us, especially as our children grow older. and it's something it's a conversation that should start. It's a conversation that should start because it has to be dealt with.
True. Barrister Ife, that's something I want you to also speak about briefly. When we're going to go on a short break right now. Please stay put. We're just going to 1 minute break. We're back, and then we'll address some of Mrs. IKW's concerns, and then you'd walk us through the process of legal guardianship in Nigeria. Just bear with us 1 minute. We'll be right back. Thank you. Don't go anywhere, please.
DYSLEXIA, he give anything to make it go away, even though he knows it's here to stay. Buckets he won't give up, no, cause you know he's way too tough. He's gonna do whatever it takes. He's gonna find a way. Casey never liked school much. All the kids would laugh when he read in class. Teachers tried to help him out, but they didn't know what to do, so they just let it pass. Sometimes he wanted to scream out loud, hide his head in the sound of the clouds. DYSLEXIA, he give anything to make it go away, even though he knows it's here to stay. But Casey won't give up, no, cause you know he's way too tough. He's gonna do whatever it takes. He's gonna find a way.
Welcome back, everyone. Thank you for staying with us. It's been an enlightening one for me. It's been an eye-opening session for me. And I'm so glad we have these beautiful ladies in the house who are shedding light on real issues when it has to do with the issue of special education needs and disability. Thank you so much for opening our eyes to those realities that you mentioned, Mrs. IKW. Now, having Barrister Ife responding to some of the concerns that Mrs. IKW stated, particularly the fact that, you know, when we talk about this issue, legal guardianship, we always look at the younger, for like a younger person living with special needs or disability. How will it work for an adult, you know, because of course the law says if you're anybody above 18 they have the free will to do whatever they think is morally correct for them. I don't know if I quoted that right, but I know that there's something that says that. But then we want Barrister Ife, who is a legal person, or as they call it, can I call you my legal colleague? You know, she will talk to us about that. Then secondly, so you're going to have to explain that to us briefly, because we want to learn. I like the fact that we talk about real issues. I want to get real answers, practical answers for that. Secondly, before you explain the old concept and the steps to take when it comes to legal guardianship, I want you to tell us your story, because what came to mind when you said to me, when I met you and you said that to me, that I'm like, wow, like really, the question I had was, when were you, how old is your sister and how old are you? At what stage did you realize that there's something called, do you realize what she was going through? At what age did you decide that you wanted to be a legal guardian? And that for me, I believe some parents were thinking, maybe because truly that some parents do not, then they don't know how to get their kids to relate appropriately or to advocate for their siblings. So I'm sure it didn't just jump on you at a particular time. It would have been a progressive thing for you. You learn about what it is and you considering wanting to do that. And then you walk us through the whole step-by-step ways of getting yourself to be a legal guardian to an individual with special needs. Is that okay? Could you please do that for us?
That's more than fine. I'm used to having hard discussions. I like hard conversations because I feel as though that is the only way that we can keep moving forward. You just have to have all those hard conversations. And Mrs. White, thank you so much for, all of the questions, all of the emotions you put out, and I really, really appreciate you as a mom. One of the reasons I am who I am is because of my mother, and I don't think that we give a lot of accolade enough to mothers, especially special needs mothers. Knowing the generation I'm in and knowing the generations you guys are coming from, it can't be anything but tough. I feel like we have it better because we have the information and we have the resources that can push us forward. But a lot of mothers now in their 40s and their 50s didn't know what this was in the in the 90s or the 80s. So for me, it's everything. And anytime I'm on a call with a mom, it's everything for me. So thank you so much. I will start with just a little story of how I got to this point. It was never a set goal to be a legal guardian. It was just the way I dealt with my sister's condition. And I say this anywhere I go to, that every single sibling deals with the condition of their sibling within the home the way they can, depending on the foundation and the information they've been given. I was lucky. Growing up in the late 80s, we didn't have any information from my sister, but my parents did not. They didn't set her aside. So there was no special treatment for her. We just took her the way she was. Okay, she can't talk. Okay, she does this and she does that. We didn't have a term for her. By the time I was 13, I had to go to the UK to finish high school, and that just changed everything for me. The first thing I learned was actually putting a name to a condition. I was lucky enough. I had a guardian there within the school board that I got very close to. That was a doctor, and I just asked a lot of questions, because for me, the way I dealt with my sister's condition was research, and I just asked a lot of questions, and I was lucky enough to get the right answers at that age. So I started volunteering, I started working in different aspects of getting to understand what special needs was, and it opened my eyes to a lot of things. I'd always wanted to be a lawyer, and I did journalism as my foundation in school because my dad was a journalist, but I always wanted to be a lawyer. It wasn't until I was probably in my early second year, third year in law school there that I realized, oh, there's something called SEND law. I could participate in this. And then I started thinking about what kind of information will I be able to give someone else that maybe did not have the information I have as a teenager to be able to cope. And what exactly do they have in Nigeria? Because I always went home for holidays, but I didn't know what information they had back home. But I wasn't necessarily bothered about other people. I was bothered about my sister, because the plan was, okay, I will take care of her. I'd always seen her as my daughter, not necessarily my sister. So it was just natural for me to think, oh, I'll take care of her. It wasn't until I started coming to Nigeria that I realized this is bigger than your sister. This is a whole community of people that have no information of what life would be afterwards. And this is a system where, as much as we know that our parents are not going to be here forever, we don't have those conversations. So we're having to burden a different sector of people without the right resources, and that is a bit unfair. People should be ready that they are going into this kind of responsibility beforehand. And that just shaped how I wanted to, position my career. I wanted to learn, but I also wanted to see how I would give back and still be within that confines of what it was I was doing. So that was what led to that. And by the time I was moving back to Nigeria fully, I told my parents, this is what I want to do. I've done my research in Nigeria, and I realized there is no SEND law. So the first thing I did was, and this is going to explain some of the other questions Mrs. White had already brought up, because rightfully in Nigeria, once you're 18, you're an adult. There's no SEND law that says, okay, this child has this disability XYZ, so we'll put them in this category. We don't have that here yet. There are policies that could easily be intertwined and be able to be implicated in that notion, but it's not black and white per se. So what I did was I got her a cognitive disability age certificate in the UK. And they did a diagnosis there to say, oh, she's autistic. They had done that before, but I did another one to make it relevant as of when I was applying. And then I got the doctors to certify her original cognitive age, which was definitely under 18 at the time and still is. And then I actually did a registration in the US that put her under the category of someone with an intellectual disability. And then I filed all that documentation, and then I brought it to Nigeria, and I filed for legal guardianship with the authority of my parents giving me that. We wanted to try to see if this would work, and it did. The High Court here is where you would go. If you have all your documentation, you will take everything to the High Court, they will swear affidavit, your family, your parents, or whoever it is that is releasing that responsibility of legal guardianship of the child will then give that authority. Now, all of that process, the one thing I realized was information was the problem. If I didn't have those information, I wouldn't have been able to do that. I would have operated as her legal guardian per se, but I wouldn't be able to have those documentations to travel abroad with her, take her home with me to the UK, bring her back to Nigeria without any problem. I had to go through those little things to actually say, okay, this thing is now finalized. Now, having answered that, the next thing I want to point out to is it's very emotional. Like Mrs. White said, it's very emotional. We're dealing with adults. If we're talking about legal responsibility and legal guardianship, I'm going to leave the under 18 because I would, to an extent, assume that the parent still wants to take care of that child to 18. I want the focus to be on children above 18 so that we can understand how that works well. Is that clear, Lola? Okay, right. So like Mrs. White said, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Great. Like Mrs. White said, it's very emotional. I remember approaching my parents, and the first thing my mom said was, no. I was 24 at the time, going on 25. And for the UK, if you're taking on someone with a cognitive age that is below 18 with a disability, you have to be over 21. So not 18. You have to be over 21, and you have to show either you're a working person, you have to show reasons why that child, would benefit being under your care. You have to show what your responsibility will be to that child. You have to show,
Hello, can we all hear me? If anybody can hear me, please put a message out there and say you can hear me, because Mr. Alex, are you here? Can you hear me? Just
Yes,
give me a sign. Fantastic. I think we lost Barrister Ify for a bit, and I'm sure she'll be right back. We all know, like I say on the show, that we shouldn't be moved by this internet issue. It's one of those things that happens, and we just move on like as if it's not happening, really. Mrs. Caribbean White, are you with us? Okay, so our audience can hear us, and I'm sure Barrister Ify will be back. But while we're waiting for her to be back, for me, on Finding Help with Special Needs, it's all about really finding true help with special needs. And I don't think it's enough for us to just listen. One thing I want us to do is to learn and take it out there. While Barrister Ify was speaking, one of the questions I had for her was, how do we begin as stakeholders, as parents, as
Hello.
Legal. Hello, Ms. IKW. We lost Barrister Ify for a bit. I'm sure she'll be back. So I was saying to our audience that a lot of things she had said to us, and most of the things she was saying was more like, oh, I got this from the UK, I got that from the US. And I said, it's one thing one crucial, important thing we need to start looking out for as parents, as teachers, as legal practitioners, any stakeholder in the field of special needs, to start thinking, how do we ensure that this law comes to stay? We need to know. It took having to travel to the UK, to the US to get all of this documentation together. What can we put? How do we push the policy? How do we push the law so that it's stamped, and then we can begin to get these things out there? Because I'm sure a lot of people want to, but not a lot. We don't have enough not all of them can actually travel to the US or to the UK to get those to documents or those assessments done. And when we've gotten that, how do we ensure that it's in our law? And I know it involves us all working together to see how that would be achievable in Nigeria.
It involves it's lobbying, it's advocacy. It's pushing towards bring all those laws, all the good laws that we see in the UK and America. Children, it is time they are domiciled. And we need to start making provisions for them to live here in Nigeria. They have you can
Ma'am, we can't really hear you.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Sorry. So I was saying that what Ms. Carrie White said is so true about we bringing those laws to domicile in Nigeria. So because not everybody can afford to go to the US or to the UK. And thankfully, Barrister, if he is a legal practitioner. So what, I mean, we're looking at, which we'll talk about, maybe sometime we'll upbeat on the show, how can we come together as stakeholders to ensure that those laws are applicable here in Nigeria also? Thank you. So we have you back. So you could, I mean, Barrister, if you please go on. We stopped at what you could do. I mean, we're talking about the older individuals that you might want to be a legal guardian to.
All right. So sorry, I lost you there. So I was talking about having to have this discussion focused more on adults with intellectual disability, so that it will be able for us to get that, because I'm assuming that most parents or families, the law is very straightforward. When a child is under 18, you can take legal guardianship from the parents and have to train them. But once somebody is 18, then literally you don't have any say. The person can literally leave your house and you wouldn't be able to do anything about it. So one of the major problems we have in Africa as a whole is that we don't have transitional services for children with intellectual disability per se. Once a child gets to 18, there's nothing that marks that transition to say, okay, what is the future IEP plan for this child now going forward? And those are the things that we need, to get involved now. So with all the things I did, now how to simplify that if you're in Nigeria is for you to start with the medical diagnosis of that child. So if you're in Nigeria, you don't have to do all that legwork that I did. I had the advantage of doing those legwork, and I wanted to do those legwork because of where I was living at the time. So I needed to do a legal guardianship in Nigeria before I did one in the UK, so she'll be able to travel. That was the major issue. Now, if you're in Nigeria, the first thing you have to do is diagnose the child. So it's very important that you have the right relationship with maybe the doctors that you go to here in Nigeria, because a lot of what the law also looks at here in Nigeria is medical transit. So your medical transit here in Nigeria is what you will now take as your certificate of cognitive age. That's what you will need for, to go to court and file. And just so that we can just have this up, for you to even start thinking about being a legal guardian, you have to be certain that, even if you have that desire, the parents of that child are going to be okay with you to be the legal guardian. That is a conversation you have to have with the parents. You have to make it clear to them why you would be the preferable legal guardian, not just because you feel as if, this is something you can take on. You need to get to that place where they are very comfortable with you. And you don't have to wait. If you're a sibling or a relative, you don't have to wait until the person has passed. before you start seeking legal guardianship. You can do it while they're still alive. For my situation, I did it because I wanted my parents to see what the benefit of it would be while they were still here. So that would be a case for you as well, because you want them to be comfortable. And also, you have to know that legal guardianship can be revoked at any time. If the parent is still alive and they feel as if, okay, this is not working, then they can revoke it. At least then you would know, okay, this has been tried and tested, and you would know whether or not you want to continue as a legal guardian or you do not want to continue as a legal guardian. So it's not something to be scared about. It could be something that I always advise, do it while the parents are alive. If it's a special needs family, do it while they're alive. Try it so that you don't have that burden just on you. You could shuttle. We did a lot of shuttling. I did a lot of shuttling back and forth with my parents, and for them, not seeing my sister for 3 months, 6 months, and surviving it was a big deal for them. They had never thought they could survive not having her next to them at every other minute or every other given time. So it was a joyful thing for them to know that she could be independent, irrespective of them being alive or not, and being tested. So that's one thing I used to encourage a lot of parents. It could be something that you could try now. And having the support of a parent while you're seeking legal guardianship makes it faster for the court to actually now grant you legal guardianship. Because once the parents are in support, whether or not you have some of the documentations or the finances per se that the court would ordinarily ask for, once the parents are in support and the parents are giving that go, it's almost like if you're writing a test and you've already scored 50%. That's how the court looks at it, because it's now favorable to you. They would find very little thing to now revoke it or withdraw your petition for you to actually be granted legal guardianship. So is that clear? Should we go on?
Yes, it's clear. And thank God some of our, I can see comments and some of the points you are highlighting have been written in the comment section so people can actually go back to read it and get an understanding. So that's clear enough. Thank you.
Great. Okay, so another thing Mrs. White also highlighted was, this is Africa. We've been doing this for eons. We just didn't have a name to it or a document to it. But it's very seamless for a family to pass and the children are being distributed within family members or something of that nature. It's something we're used to. We're communal by nature. And I think that is even the reason why I feel sad that something as special as children with autism or children with Down syndrome or cerebral palsy within the special needs community are not being given that joy and that love as that we have as communal people. I feel like that's one thing we're missing out on. I don't know where that transition of communal experience entered into having a stigmatized notion, but it shouldn't be stigmatized at all. This is Africa. We're family people here, and we should be the best nations that actually nurture children, especially children that are within the special needs community, to give them a better independent life. We don't have that space to just, go blind or, what's going to happen to these children. It's almost as if it's not talked about. Children don't stay children, they grow into adults. So I don't understand why that conversation, does not go into motion so quickly. It's almost like a last minute thing. And then the parents, and this is one thing I keep telling parents, you're not Superman. You are not. You are a parent that also needs nurturing. And you should be a parent that enjoys nurturing, but you have to plan ahead. If you're in your 30s now or in your 40s now, and you have a child with a special needs that is 4 or 5, bless you. You have 20 years to set them up. You have 30 years to set them up. But if you don't plan for that child is not going to stay a child. That child is going to be an adult. And you want that child to be an enriching element of your legacy. You don't want that child to be a burden to you at that age. You don't want that child to be a burden to their sibling. And you don't want society to see that child as a burden at all in any way. So that is the first thing. And that is one thing that I'm going to, plague on parents today. I want you to go home and really ask yourself, do I actually have a plan a legacy plan for my child going forward. What exactly will this child's life be in the next 10, 15, 20 years? Am I looking for the right information or the right resources that, I'm going to celebrate this child when they're 25, when they're 30. I'm not just going to be thinking about their cognitive reasoning, oh, they should be married, or oh, they should be this. No, this is the reality of what it means. Can you plan forward for this child to also have a life where the child also is not burdened by you? Because if you're not planning for that child, then you are the burden, not the child. Because they came through you. You are literally their map out plan. They don't have any other plan. You are their map out plan. So if you are not mapping it out for them, nothing. It's not working for them. And at the end of the day, when you come to me, I'm going to keep that child where I can keep that child and maybe seek for legal guardianship for that child for myself and just tell you go home. So I want us to, feel light, be light with these conversations so that it will help us grow. So number one issue we have in Nigeria, we do not have transitional plans. That is it. And the reason we do not have transitional plans is because we do not have transitional services in Nigeria. And to be very honest, it will have to start with families. If it starts with families, if we have the numbers, there's nothing that we cannot petition the government to do. We can petition them to give us a SEND law. We can petition them to give us a SEND policy. We can petition them to give us hospices for adult children where they are having to transit from home to, from home to their hospices, not necessarily even needing to have a legal guardian. They could have an independent life 6 months in the year, come home for midterm break, go back, and you would also enjoy having a longer life because you're not having to be burdened by the things that it is seemingly just only you carrying. So that's another thing I want us to just have out there. Before I continue.
Thank you so much. Like I always say to us, we plan to just spend an hour, and by the time we keep talking, there's so much to talk about. But we will definitely be back to speak to us probably about it.
To talk about.
There's so much. There is. And really, I'm bringing both of you back. There's so much to talk about, from a knowledgeable perspective, from the fact that you're living with individuals, and these are real issues, So in round up for today, I'd like
These are
to
real
take
issues. Before you round us up, okay.
I wanted you to speak. Yeah, I was going to say, do you have anything you have to probably the parting word for us, or whatever you want us to talk about? Probably the next time we'll meet, because I really want to talk about real issues and how to solve this problem together.
I want to. Barrister Ife has said a lot, and basically that's it. I want to answer the question she asked. The fact that there's transition. We look at our children as children and we don't plan for adulthood. And I'll tell you the truth, honestly, is that we all believed that before our children became adults, they would be out of this.
True.
We are prayerful, we are hopeful. So that's it. The majority of us felt we became adults. So we didn't see that. We didn't plan for that. It was not something we were ever going to look at. But reality now, bites us in the hand, let me say. So we're having to open our eyes and look forward and talk and to implement the things that Barrister Ife has spoken about. One other advice I would have for parents and especially mothers is, Ife spoke so beautifully about growing up with her sister and not seeing it as a burden, not seeing her sister as different, just who she was. She was just this unique sister that she had, who was part of them, and that was it. She didn't even really know what the issues were. She was different, but she was not less. I don't know you, but that's what came through to me. That that was your experience.
Absolutely.
I think we lost Miss Carrie White. She'll be back because we're about to round up. But I want to thank everyone that has joined in today. I want to thank Blessing Gapi. Thank you so much for transcribing. It's been very helpful so that anyone who was able to watch the video can see the highlights of today's discussion. Vicky Wilson Woko, thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, Lola, am I back?
Yeah. Yeah, you're back. Please go on.
Am I back? Oh, just quickly, what I'm trying to say is that, parents, it's something we need to do. I always tell my husband, I say, you know what? I lived 30 something years before having autism in my life. So we need to understand that, our children don't have that gift. We had the gift, benefit, call it whatever it was, of not having autism in our lives till we became parents of these children. The siblings don't have that same thing. Some of them are born with the children, some born before and some born after. And whether we like it or not, the way we treat them, the siblings, and the child in question will go a long way in the end to see whether that sibling will want to take up their special needs sister or brother to take care of. So it is important the way that they are brought up. They have to be brought up. Yes, it's very important that you give the siblings time to be siblings, time to be their kids in their own right, and also time to appreciate their special needs sibling so that they have a genuine love for the special needs sibling and they are willing to take care of that special needs sibling when you're no longer there. Because honestly, the bulk mostly stops with the siblings. Legal guardianship will go to, most likely than not, the siblings. The issue is, have you brought up the siblings rightly to be able to take on that task? Because you don't want to leave your child for a sibling who doesn't have the capacity or doesn't even have that love. So a lot still falls on the parents, and I would like parents to, think about this, put a master plan, let these children grow together so they understand. Let them grow together. Let them understand these children. Let the children be children. Let the siblings be siblings. There's also sibling rivalry. You hear about siblings who say, my mother, my father, they were totally focused on our autistic sister or brother. They didn't have time for me. Do you think that child is going to want to be legal guardian at the end of the day? So you also need to balance it up. Prepare your children to take their part of their lives for life. That's very, very important. So sorry for taking up too much time, but I thought it was a very important point to make.
Lola, we can't hear you.
Sorry, I'm so sorry. So that's a very valid that's a very good point, because the reason I asked the first question was because I knew that we needed to discuss, and I'm thankful that you brought it up towards the end. So that's very interesting. Thank you for adding that to the discussion for today. Thank you so much. Director Ify, any parting word? You've said so much, really, a lot. And you still have a lot to say to us, so we're bringing you back very soon. So please tell us, give us to the parents or audience.
No problem.
Thank you.
Yeah. Once again, thank you for having me.
A round of applause for Ify. Ify, very well done.
Well done. Thank you for what you do.
Thank you for all you do once again.
Thank you. This is my life. It's an everyday thing. It's not something. It's not a job for me anymore. It's a life. It's my life. It's an everyday thing that I'm conscious about. And what you said about parents setting the tone for how siblings actually, how they come up at the end, very, very true. So we started SOS Needs because we wanted to inform siblings. So it's called Siblings of Special Needs. And what we do pretty much is we raise sibling advocates for them to understand what it means for them to be born in a special needs home and what surrounds them, what the help they need, what consciousness they need to, garner before they get to that age where they are adults, and whether they're even considering being caregivers or legal guardians. So for me, it's very important because whether parents like it or not, the siblings in the home are going to be the longest living relative. So you really, really need to be conscious of that fact. And you really need to be conscious that, as far as I'm concerned, the children in the home, they are your biggest assets to your child. And you're either taking advantage of it in the right way or you are missing out. So please, this is just encouraging every parent out there. You're doing a fantastic job, but you will do a much, much more fantastic job if you carry everybody together and just see how it is. Check any of our resources. If you want us to actually get in touch with your child, yeah, we do that. We can counsel them. And please just be sweet to yourself as well. If you're a parent, you're a mom, you're a dad, just enjoy the process as well as much as you can. And kudos to every single parent that is on here. Thank you so much, Lola. Well done for what you're doing. And yeah, I'm available for you whenever.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I want to thank everyone that's joined in today. Rainy on that. Thank you, Rotimi, Tayo, Vicky. Blessed for everyone that will be watching this video. Thank you so much. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Share. These are resourceful information that would really be helpful to parents, for anyone with a child with special needs. So please go ahead, and if you look on my Instagram page and on C Academy and Dewdrop, you find out that we're beginning to put the contact. We always say you can actually contact any of our guests, because the whole idea of finding help with special needs so that you can truly find help. And if you notice on Barrister Ife's resume that we shared with our flyer, we actually put the contact details there, because we want you to truly get help and get it and use it to help every individual living with disability. And this is it for us today. Thank you so much, Ms. IKW. I truly appreciate you, Barrister Ife. Mr. Alex, thank you so much. Everyone, I truly appreciate you. Until I come your way again next week. It's Valentine's Sunday, so it's going to be a very interesting topic where we have to talk about individuals with special needs and Valentine's Day. So look forward. I'm super excited about that topic for next week. So look out for the topic and join us, and let's see how that goes. Thank you, everyone. Have a beautiful evening and a blessed week. Until I come your way again. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Mr. White.
Excellent. D-Y-S-L-E-X-I-A. He give anything to make it go away, even though he knows it's here to stay. Buckets he won't give up, no, cause he's way too tough. He's gonna do whatever it takes. He's gonna find a way. Casey never liked school much. All the kids would laugh when he read in class. Teachers tried to help him out, but they didn't know what to do, so they just let it pass. Sometimes he wanted to scream out loud, hide his head in the sound of the clouds. D-Y-S-L-E-X-I-A. He give anything to make it go away, even though he knows it's here to stay. But Casey won't give up, no, cause he's way too tough. He's gonna do whatever it takes. He's gonna find a way.